Welcome to the latest episode of 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Thanks for joining us on your favorite podcast app on Apple Podcasts. Use Spotify or the 5 Reasons YouTube channel, or, well, I said on Apple, or Apple Podcasts. And on Android, use Spotify or the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, turn the notifications on. Also, check out Off the Floor. That's our Discord server. You're going to want to be on there. There's two places you're going to want to be on Wednesday night. One is playback. Go to playback.tv/5RSN. That's playback.tv/5RSN. And also on our Off the Floor Discord. We're going to do this all in the draft channel. So we do it in the main thing. We're going to be in the draft channel all night long. Check it out. It's Off the Floor. You're going to want to be there. Sign up. It costs you $2.99 for the night. You can cancel the night after. It's a cup of coffee. Also, check out Prize Picks. Use the code 5FIVE. We're going heavy into the WNBA. Okay, so there are lots of plays on the WNBA. Use the code 5FIVE. Put down your 5. Get 50 to play right away. And now, today's episode.
Mercy, luxurious, Heat Nation, yeah, Mercy and Lago, down to Biscayne, yay, 5 on the floor, ride for my dogs, where here's the thing, you can check the score, hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frogs, down to Biscayne, kept the flow playing, got it all band, y'all seen the block, stop with one hand, and Pat we trust, it's power, have the guts, we're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
All right, welcome back to 5 on the Floor. Here's today's floor plan. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick at 5 Reasons Sports. I got Greg Sylvander. You can follow him at Greg Sylvander. And Matt Hanifan, you can follow him at MPH_824_176243 $@ We're going to talk about the draft. We are 1 day away as we're recording this. We're literally 24 hours away. But plenty of coverage from the arena. They're having a draft party, so go check that out. Brady, myself, and Alex, we will not be partying. We will be eating probably the same pasta that was there 2 years ago. But, you know, when you're hungry, you eat it. So that'll probably be down there. We appreciate the free food. Don't take away the free food, okay? And don't give us Papa John's. Okay, so we're going to have that down at the arena tomorrow. And then in addition to playback and Off the Floor, we'll also have a post-game podcast and all that good stuff. The Heat pick 20th for now. They have Golden State's pick. They do not have their own pick. That one turned out to be the 15th slot. They're not getting that one. They have the 20th pick. Now, what we're going to do on this episode is we're going to talk about – I'm going to let Greg sort of download the latest reporting. And then after we do that, Matt had a tweet that we're going to play off of, excuse me, when it's come out that's about the type of player. And again, there's so much smoke at this time that's hard to really know. But the type of player that the Heat are looking for, and Matt has a better idea than what's currently circulating, or at least he thinks it's a better idea. Greg, the latest reporting.
The latest on the draft. So the Walter Clayton Jr. noises have gotten very loud in terms of the Heat's interest in him. They have scouted him throughout the season, which we've chronicled on Off the Floor. Make sure you subscribe because you would already know that. Earlier this month, I had heard that he was a guy that was really in the mix at 20 for Miami. Guard out of Florida, just coming off of a deep run in the tournament, a winner. So he's definitely someone to keep your eye on. In additional digging that I've done, found out that Nolan Troyo, hopefully I'm saying his name right. Matt will correct me later in the show. Don't worry. But
Traore, right? No? Is that
Traore.
I get one right?
Traore.
There you go. I didn't get one right.
We'll take it. He is a young guard. I think he's 18. He may be 19, but I think he's 18. And he played overseas in a pro-style offense. Shout out to Adele for letting me know that. And because I have not watched this player before, frankly. But it sounds like the Heat they came away impressed in the workout that they had. Part of me wonders if because the Walter Clayton and smoke got so loud that now I'm hearing they like another guard, and that could be kind of to a diversion tactic of some kind. But I thought that it was interesting that there's more first round prospects that are popping up on the Heat's radar all of a sudden, in addition to Adam Finkelstein, I think that's how you say his name, Finkelstein maybe, I believe it's for CBS. And again, hopefully I didn't butcher that. He's a draft analyst. He said that Walter Clayton worked out twice for Miami and then shut down all workouts lower than the 20 or further back than the 20th pick. I did not have that on good authority, but we'll take it from him. He is credible in the college basketball space. So I just think that's the name that we should hone in on. The kid from overseas is a guard as well, but has some concerns with shooting and stuff like that. And then the other name that popped up was Cedric Coward, although it appears as if a lot of people are signaling that he may go to San Antonio around pick 14 if San Antonio doesn't do something with that pick. So he may not make it to where Miami picks. So a lot of rumblings about potential first round picks. The takeaways, other than it seems very guard heavy, is also that like throughout this entire process, because the other first round guards, just to get everybody up to speed that they've worked out, Jace Richardson out of Michigan State, Will Riley is more of a wing, and then Tyrese Proctor out of Duke. So all kind of like wings to smaller kind of guards, not a lot of bigs. And so I don't know what to make of that. We shall see what happens tomorrow night, but that's kind of the latest and greatest in terms of where the Heat stand. It looks like they're looking at a lot of guards. They didn't extend a qualifying offer to Isaiah Stevens today, although I don't know that they even have the roster spots. Well, I guess they would have a two-way spot available. So anyway, all that to say, it looks like they're focused in on guards, which means they'll probably take a center, right? Just to throw a loophole in all of this. But that's where we're at.
Okay, so a lot of names there. One thing also to consider is that there are a lot of trades being made right now. We haven't had really an opportunity to talk about a couple of them. We'll do that probably on another episode. But among them, CJ McCollum traded to Washington from New Orleans. Jordan Poole is now with New Orleans. Additionally, Drew Holiday traded. I do not understand this trade from Portland's perspective. Portland gives Boston an out basically from the contract. Well, I understand it. It's Joe Cronin. And he basically just did Boston another solid. He gave them Drew Holiday to win championship and then took Drew Holiday back when the contract was bad. So good work, Joe Cronin. He gives up Anthony Simons to Boston as they're kind of retooling without Jason Tatum. Rumors now about Jaylen Brown and others, and they had traded Kristaps Porzingis as well. So there's a lot of moves going on, and because of that, getting ahead of the draft, a lot of stuff tends to happen the night before draft. Some of these picks could get moved also as we go forward. So we say someone may end up here, has been promised here, and all that. That may not end up happening because there may be other teams in those slots. All right, but on the other side of this, we will turn this over to Matt with some of these names that Greg has put out there, and particularly Walter Clayton Jr., because Adele and I did a 30-minute episode on him about 3 weeks ago. There is a viral clip today of him saying if he could have dinner with anybody in the world, Eric Spoelstra was the first person he named. So people thought that was recent. It looks to me like, and what I saw from others is that clip was from the Final Four. So it's not even about him trying to get drafted by the Heat at that point. He just likes Eric Spoelstra, and he does seem like a Heat-type player. But Matt has some concerns, I think, as Adele has some concerns when he's been on with us. Before we do, you don't want to be concerned when you send money, right? Cash App. That's the safest way to send money. If you're sending it to the wrong person, like I'm sending it to Eternal, they will tell you. They'll look out for you. They say it seems sketchy. Don't send to him. No, I'm just kidding. And they'll warn you, make you think twice before you hit send. It's like having a personal bodyguard for your cash. It's like having a David Holcomb for your cash, if any of you Heat fans, and you know the reference. Making money moves should be easy, and that's why there's Cash App, fast, safe, and way more personalized than the other apps out there. If for whatever insane reason you don't already have Cash App, like all the hosts of this show, just download it from your phone's app store, sign up, enter our code on the floor. That's on the floor in your profile. Send $5 to a friend. You get $10 just for getting started. It's like trading with Joe Cronin. You always get back more than you put in. For limited time only, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. You can download Cash App, sign up using the code on the floor, Send $5 to a friend within 14 days. You get $10 drop right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. I don't know. I took some shots at some people. Okay, Matt. Excuse me as I'm dying. It's karma. You're not in love with the idea of Walter Clayton Jr., right? Why?
I'm not. I like Walter Clayton as a player. He was awesome down the stretch of the NCAA tournament. He was one of the biggest, I think, risers. He averaged 22 points on 47, 41, 91 shooting splits. In those 6 games, he was a first-team All-American this last year. I think the thing with me when it comes to Walter Clayton is I have some concerns about his impact when he's not making shots. Like, he's a tough shot taker and a tough shot maker. He's an okay playmaker, not a great one, not one that you want to like necessarily lead your offense. He's not a good defender. Like, he's 6'2" with a 6'4" wingspan. He doesn't have a great frame on him. He's 190 pounds. I think he got pushed around a little bit. I didn't love his awareness defensively. Like, none of this was because of a lack of effort. Like, it's not like he wasn't trying. I think some of that could be due to the on-ball responsibility that he had. And so maybe there's some sort of trade-off at the next level when he doesn't have to do as much. But I think in a Heat context, him alongside Tyler Herro defensively, when the Heat have been devoid of point of attack defense outside of Davion Mitchell, like, it's a genuine concern. And I think Walter Clayton could benefit from playing alongside Tyler offensively. Like, he's someone who can move off the ball. He's one of the best pull-up jump shooters in the class. Like, he has a very quick release. He gets good lift. He has, good mechanics like that. None of that's an issue, but it's the fit defensively. And when you're looking at the Heat, they don't have a whole lot of like two-way versatility. They don't have a lot of two-way malleability. They don't have a lot of two-way upside. And when point of attack defense was such a big concern with them, and it has been over the last several years, I don't think Walter Clayton would be the player that I would look at to mitigate those shortcomings, even though he would unquestionably help them offensively, especially with their shot making.
By the way, it's the best year internet has ever been. So I wanted this is applause, and Alex is not allowed back on the show. The fit with Herro is concerning. It should be noted. Of course, Eternal was the one to note it on the Discord, that the Tyler Herro archetype has been traded by every team in the league over the past 48 hours, right? Or longer with Desmond Bain. But Simons, Poole, am I missing one? There was another one.
Well, CJ McCollum has kind of been.
McCollum was who we compared Tyler to when he came into the game.
But Tyler's the only all-star among those guys, most recently anyway.
Correct. So I'm assuming he's going to be on the roster next year. And if he's going to be on the roster, I can't see these guys starting together. And I would assume re-signed Davion Mitchell would start, but then your 3-guard rotation is tiny. It's really small. Like, Tyler's the big guy. Like that, I don't know. I mean, I guess you'd be replacing Rozier, but but Rozier has some wingspan on him. It just didn't translate for them. I don't know. That's my concern. The winner stuff I like. I don't want to. I kind of jumped to the Shabazz Napier thing just because he was a winner and there's just bad feeling. Shabazz was not a terrible NBA player, but it was just the context of, him coming in and LeBron basically just seeing him on television one day. And then all of a sudden you're drafting him, and you could have taken Capella, who I think is who they probably would have taken in that spot. So I guess there's some questions there. I mean, I don't mind drafting winners. I don't mind drafting guys who make big shots. I actually liked his floor game in the final. I thought that he played pretty well considering he didn't shoot well, particularly early in the game. Like, he wasn't a big offensive contributor, but I thought he got to loose balls. He spurred them. He's one of those guys that you get to the end of the game, you're like, oh, he helped you win. And so I can see why they like that, if they do like that. I'll also say that the last 3 picks have kind of come out of left field in terms of who we thought they might take. I know you mentioned Jaquez before the draft, Greg. And
it was the day of, though. It took me until the day of to hear that, yeah.
Right. So it doesn't tend to be the guy we have the most conversation about prior to the draft that they end up picking. All right, but let's get to 5 names that you gave that you liked better, and then I'm going to throw out names that Brady's put on our thread. I want to see how close these are. You would prefer Nick Clifford, Cedric Coward, who we mentioned probably isn't going to last till there, Rasheer Fleming, who probably isn't going to last till there, Danny Wolf, and Tyrese Proctor. Of those 5, which is the one you think is most likely to be there at 20? And if they took Clayton instead of him, you'd be like, they made a mistake.
I think the most likely one is Proctor. I think I'm a little bit higher on Proctor than the consensus, which is why I had him. I think he, among those 5 players, it's closest to Clayton on my board. And if they're looking toward experience, which is what they're reporting from Brett Siegel, who's over at Clutch Points, like they're targeting experience over long-term upside. Those would be the 5 guys that I would look at before I would look at Walter Clayton. And it's mostly just because of the two-way stuff. Like all 5 of those guys are two-way players to a certain extent. I think Proctor's more of a complementary piece. Like he's not someone who's going to be tasked with a lot on ball. But he shot 41% from deep last season. He averaged 13 points a game in that kind of context with Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple, Kaman Malawach. I thought was a solid team defender. He was a solid individual defender. Him and Clayton are kind of in like a similar tier for me, but I just think is in terms of like a complementary piece, like I think he just fits better because of what he can do defensively more than Walter Clayton. And so that's why I kind of had him on that list, even though those other 4 guys I would have over him in this kind of question in a vacuum.
I was going to just sneak in here and say that Proctor, if he were to be taken at 20, I think the consensus among league circles would be that would be a reach, because I've even seen a 2nd round grade on Tyrese Proctor by some. So I just to note that I think that a lot of people don't know where guys are slotted on big boards. I think this draft in particular has been a little weird that way, but it would probably be frowned upon and considered a reach if they took him at 20, frankly.
Let me give you Brady's the players he likes for the Heat, and this isn't necessarily the same list because you were focusing more, Matt, on the sort of ready to play right away guys. So there's some crossover, not all of it. He says his top 5, not necessarily in this order, is Clifford, Coward, Fleming, Traore, you get it, Jace Richardson, and then Ben Sarif, Walter Clayton Jr., and Thiaro as honorable mention. Sarif's been mentioned a lot. I don't know that he's ready to go right away. Maybe that's why you didn't put him on the list. Do you think he gets to 20?
I do. The thing with him is he's also 19. Like he's like Traore. He's still pretty young, and he's still playing basketball. Like the game, he's still playing in the German league right now. His final game of the season will be on June 26th, Thursday, which is the 2nd day of the draft. Like he's still played 50 plus games of basketball because he's been in the playoffs the entire time, and he's trying to compete for a German league championship. I think he will be at 20. But I'm very interested to see the dynamic of that. Like they weren't able to meet him. No one was, because he was overseas the entire time. So I'm very fascinated by that element of it. I think he can make it to 20. I'm not necessarily banking on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Greg, if they take a ready to play prospect, and we've talked a lot about the East being wide open, but it's one thing to say getting like a player who's ready to play, but if the player to elevate them, a guy that they're going to pick at 20 seems kind of outlandish for year 1, right? Like even if the guy is like what Jaquez was the first year, which people shouldn't forget. This was first team all rookie, contributed right away. He already had a floor when he came in, then he kind of crashed through it in season 2. But I mean, even if they got a player that helped as much as that, I don't know that puts them in a top 6 in the East, even in this East where it seems like every other team in the league has a star out with a torn Achilles, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things we should get straight, and you're alluding to it perfectly. Nobody at pick 20 is going to change the tier with which Miami sits as a team in the Eastern Conference right now. So we should not think of this person as a savior of any kind. They would need to likely trade up quite a bit, get up pretty high for us to bill a prospect to the fans and for the organization to bill a prospect to the fans that is worthy of that kind of consideration. So that's one thing. But here's the other thing, Ethan. Like we just talked about this the other day about like if you're hesitant to put Nico and Jaime and any of the other young players in for big minutes, contributing. If they're getting DMP coaches' decisions late in the season, as some did, if they're not playing consistent roles in the playoffs, we've seen Spoelstra over and over, unless your name is, well, no, he didn't coach Dwayne as a rookie, so I take that one back. There's not a lot of rookies just generally. Maybe Tyler is actually the best example of him trusting a rookie. I just think it's one, how much are they really going to help in the Eastern Conference, particularly when you get to 7-game series in the playoffs? And two, like, Spoelstra doesn't have a great history of leaning into the rookies and sticking with them. So then at that point, like, we have to adjust expectations. And then the other part of this, and just so that we don't close without me sneaking it in to this as well, is that we must consider the possibility that the Heat just say, let's trade for a 2027 pick when Charlotte owns our pick, and it'll unlock maybe a future pick or give you more, capital to go shopping later on. So just things to think about is that, like, I don't think it's a guarantee that they pick a player at 20 and keep a player at 20. Maybe I'll change my stance on that by tomorrow based on information that flies around, but I just think we should consider the fact that they could trade out.
They could, and it might be the smart thing to do, and then it would get groans in the arena. But that's the thing. And this is kind of what some of those in our network and other places have said, which is that the smart thing to do here and the fun thing to do are not necessarily the same. And Heat fans say they want to stockpile more assets, but there's hard work to get those assets. And sometimes it requires taking step backs or waiting to take a player that you may or may not like. And we know that Clayton is going to get a lot of buzz at this draft party tomorrow because people know his name, and there's a lot of Gator alums. So there's going to be this big buzz and then this pop if they don't take him, and even better if it's the Miami Heat have traded for the draft rights to, or the right to draft in the 2037 year or whatever it is, 2000. Well, I know it's the Charlotte pick, 2027. So yeah, I mean, I think that there again are counter aims here. But I'll close. I'll let Matt close with this, because you came up with your names based on this premise that Brett Siegel has put out there, Clutch Points, which, again, we don't know if it's true or not, but this is his report, that they're looking for a more ready-to-play prospect. But couldn't you make the argument that if they're not really going to compete for anything this year and nobody is going to help them compete in any significant way this year, that they're better off just taking the player with the absolute highest upside and getting that player in their system? Are they better off taking a Jovic type than a Jaquez type this year, if that's the case?
I think you can make a compelling case. You just have to make sure you get that, you have to communicate with Spoelstra and make sure that he's also willing to buy into that and willing to, develop him and nurture that environment. And I'm sure obviously I don't think they would make a pick without that, assumption, without that clarification. But I do think, like, there has to be, it just depends on what they want to do. And, like, it's part of their plan that obviously we're not in the room. We're not privy to those conversations about what that will actually look like. But I do think you can make the compelling case. I mean, Troy is one where that is like an upside bet to a certain extent, because he is 19. He turned 19 in May. He's the best league playmaker, I think, in this class, or one of them not named Dylan Harper. And he is someone who, still has to work into his frame a little bit. He's 6'3" with a 6'8" wingspan. He shot 31% from three last year, but there is some concerns with his size and whatnot, but, like, there is some upside there. With Ben Serif, there's upside, but some of these other guys, there's some serious upside. And so it just depends on what they want to do and what they think they need to address. But I do think if you really do want to take a lean year, which I'm not necessarily anticipating, or I'm not saying they will do that, you could make the argument that they should, bank on long-term upside, considering, we're in this new phase of this current build.
Yep. All right. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night. Many more discussions to come. Probably by the time that this comes out, they will have traded the pick along with what would they trade? Along with Rozier for, what is it? DeRozan, the flavor?
DeMar DeRozan is the name of today, with Devin Carter mixed in there, which would, bring AC's son in. I don't know.
I like Devin Carter a lot.
So there you go. All right, Matt, appreciate it. Greg, thank you as well. Cash App, use the code on the floor, get a free $5 basically, and Prize Picks get a free $45. Well, $50, but put down your $5, get your $50 to play right away. Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. After all, someone needs to listen to my dad.